Hi, this is Vera again, and this is the third video in the Google Forms and Sheets Amateur series. In this video, I will continue giving you tips and tricks on working with forms. I'm going to focus on data validation in this video, and first of all, I'm going to demonstrate what it would look like. I've used data validation in several of these questions. First of all, the first one asks for a Gmail address, and then the text says to be sure and enter a email address. So I'm going to put something here, maybe not completely finish it. And then I'm going to go to the next question, and notice it's going to highlight it in red, and it's going to tell me to please enter a valid email address. So if you're ever collecting email addresses, that's a good thing to use just to make sure that they are valid. You can also do that with a URL. If you're collecting student projects or something via URL, you can make sure that it's an actual URL by setting a data validation for that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is down here. I've used data validation on a couple more questions. You can use it for text questions, paragraph questions, checkbox questions, and I think those are the only three that you can use it for. But this one I've made a text question, and the question is, what is a word that uses the stem viv, meaning live? And data validation, I set data validation that requires the stem viv to be included. So if a student is absent-minded and tries to use the word lively, for example, it's going to tell them it must contain viv. And then if I go back and put a word that does contain the stem viv, then it's going to accept it. Another example is you can set it to require a certain number or range of numbers, greater than a number, less than a number, etc. So I'm going to tell it, this one said to use a whole number, so I'm going to try to use a fraction and then enter it, and it's going to tell me that's not correct. It has to be a whole number. So then if I put a whole number, then it's going to accept it. And then lastly, this is a checkbox data validation. You can make the person select a certain number, a maximum number, a minimum number, or an exact number. So if I try to only choose one, it's going to tell me I have to select 3. And so I can go through here and select all 3 of them, then it accepts it. Okay, so that's kind of how it looks like on the finished end, and now I'm going to go into the editing form and show you how to do it. So for the first one, the Gmail address is a text, as you can see, and if I open up in the editing, underneath the choice, any of the questions that you can use data validation on, it's going to have this advanced setting button, and click advanced settings, and you have to check the data validation checkbox first, and then it gives you some choices: numbers, text, or regular expressions. I doubt very many people will use the regular expression. Those are the complicated computer search terms, but text is a typical one. And then you can choose it contains. You can make sure it contains a certain word, like the viv in the other question does not contain an email address or a URL. Okay, so that is text, and I'll show you the number in another one. I'll go down here to the one, the viv, I just use the make sure it contains. This one, a number one, I'll show you how it looks. You go down to advanced settings again, and data validation number, and here are your choices for a number. You can have greater than or equal to, less than, equal to, not equal to, between, not between, is a number, and then whole number. And so lots of choices there. Imagine you might use it differently. And then this is a checkbox question, and here is kind of how the data validation works for that. You have select exactly, select at least, select at most. Those are the choices. And notice this one also has a shuffle option order. That's something that is coming. It's people who have rapid release already have it. You may not have it yet, but you'll see that coming in the near future, and it will appear for multiple choice and choose from a list questions, and it will appear under the advanced options, and just what it says, it will just shuffle the order of the answer choices for your viewers. Okay, so that is data validation. Also, another way to validate your data, of course, is to give them multiple choice or choose from a list where they can only choose a certain answer. But if that doesn't work for you, there are some other ways of making sure that you get the answers that you're looking for from your respondents.